You
Fuck a
know,
fatty in the
there's
fart
probably
box.
some fat chicks that couldn't slava knob to save their ass, and then there's probably some that'll fucking go ape shit.
Oh, right.
Sham Show.
Welcome to the Sham Show.
Good.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Here with Dakota Vera.
Welcome to the Sham Show.
Woo!
So
Dakota.
Dakota.
Is in the military. And he's actually leaving in a couple days. And so we barely nabbed him in time to do an episode. And he said he's really excited to go back.
Yeah, so excited to not sit on my ass every day.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like you just got back from Africa.
I did. Yeah, 9 months there. Then we came back for like a little bit, and then when I go back, we're gonna go to Louisiana for a month now.
Yeah,
that's
that's what
there.
I'm saying.
So that's why I'm not excited to go back because it's like not really home
You're stationed in Nashville.
or outside of Nashville, Fort Campbell.
Okay. Yeah, you should explain, like, since you left, where you've been.
Since I left here,
Yeah, since you started your military journey.
Yeah.
So obviously I went to high school with these guys. So, and then after that, I went to University of Missouri. Did that, joined their ROTC program there. So that's how I got into the Army, and I got a scholarship through that. And then after that, I went to Fort Benning, which is where the Infantry Officer course is. Pretty much all the infantry schools are in Fort Benning, Georgia. It's like an hour and a half south of Atlanta. And then after Atlanta, or after Fort Benning, PCS, which is a permanent change of station, where you move permanently to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. It's right on the Kentucky-Tennessee border, like 45 minutes from Nashville. I was there for like 10 months, and then we went to Africa for 9 months. It was supposed to be 6 months, but COVID happened. There for 9.
What part of Africa?
It was in Djibouti.
Djibouti.
Djibouti!
That's like on the far coast, right?
Yeah, it's on like the eastern, like the Horn of Africa area. It's almost like
So how far is it from the equator?
11 degrees north of the equator.
So like right on that.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking hot.
What's up with that Djibouti booty?
That's what we called it if you got sick from eating the local food. So Djibouti booty. But yeah, I mean it was a Navy base called Camp Lemonnier, and it's connected to the Djibouti International Airport, and then there's like a French base connected to that as well. So you wouldn't like Djibouti is a definite third world country. Like if you drive out of the base, there's trash everywhere. People live in shanty towns. Like it's pretty crazy how poor it is. But there's so many like countries with influence there.
One of my professors told me not to say third world country, and I was like, "Get the fuck out!"
What are we
of
supposed
here.
to say?
I don't even remember.
Was-
That's how like
Country
meaningless it was.
decimated by poverty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
No.
poor country for sure. And
No,
then
that's nuts, dude.
it's
To
like
be stationed there for a cool minute.
yeah, it was interesting. Like we got to do some cool stuff. Like obviously we got to go out and like shoot because we're in the Army. And then I got to go to like one of the resorts there, which is like a 4-star resort on a beach, which you wouldn't think a third world country has, but because there's embassies there, there's so many countries with influence. Like China's a big player there, we're a big player there. There's Italians, Germans, French, like the UK is there. Like
What do they all do? That's what. Not
So-
quite.
Yeah, like are they taking
Somalia
advantage
is
of
nearby,
resources?
and Somalia is like the
Pirate
headquarters
country.
for pirates, and then Al-Shabaab, which is like the equivalent of ISIS in Africa.
Damn.
So
I didn't know
Al-Shabaab,
that
African ISIS.
basically,
had
it's
ISIS
the best
in
way I can
Africa.
describe it. Similar ideals, basically. Like
They do like
So,
recruit children.
what's
and
up-
Oh, yeah.
massacre and all that bullshit.
Yeah,
What's up with ISIS these days? I feel like they don't make the news like they used to.
I have no idea really. Like, my focus has been on Africa so much that like,
What's African ISIS been up to? No good.
well, so while we were there, they actually attacked like a Kenyan army / U.S. Army base.
Oh, U.S. base.
Yeah, like the U.S. forces work with the Kenyans there, and they rolled up like one day and just like started shooting RPGs and blowing shit up. They killed like 3 Americans in the one attack, and we actually our mission in Africa, we're called the East Africa Response Force. We're initially designed to be like a Benghazi protection thing. Like that was established after Benghazi happened, so that like if an embassy gets attacked in Africa or in that area, there's someone to quickly get there and respond. I don't know if you know that Africa is like not really chill. Like there's riots like when people get elected, and like they'll literally go in the streets and just start shooting.
Yeah, we don't. I don't know.
You don't know what's going on. Yeah, no one really hears a lot about Africa. So like, there was one, I forget where it was, but like the government had like anti-personnel vehicles out there, like just dumping around into the crowd.
Whoa, that's an African government.
Yeah.
So you are protecting the embassy from Alibaba.
No, Al Shabaab is like a player, but like we were more designed for civil unrest, like in case like they were like, yeah, fuck the Americans, let's raid their compound, kind of like Benghazi.
The embassy.
Yeah, that was our initial purpose.
So when the Kenyans attacked,
the Kenyans got attacked.
The Kenyan base got attacked by the Somalis.
It's Al Shabaab. They're mostly headquartered in Somalia though. So yeah, we got called up. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning or something on like a Sunday morning, you know, and we were like, oh shit, because you don't know what initially happens. Like you just get the call and like you got to go up there, and my platoon and another platoon, we were the first ones to respond. So when we got there, it was pretty intense. I can't really go into too much detail about all that, but I mean,
took care of the problem.
I mean, there wasn't like anything really still happening. Pizza. But yeah, there wasn't. His back was still in the shot.
For sure.
No, I saw it as he walked by.
Can you go back to Benghazi? Because I don't even know the full scoop on that. So it was a Benghazi U.S. military base.
It was a U.S. embassy.
U.S. embassy that was attacked.
And like there was no like. So the way embassies are set up, they have a security force there, but it's not like a massive security force. Like they have so many like important people there, and just admin personnel to like keep the embassy running, or they can't just have 150 dudes there to protect it. So when they got attacked, they got overran pretty quickly, and like because there's not enough people there to support it.
So did it get overrun? Like, what was the conclusion on that? It got overrun, and then we went in and busted ass and cleared them out.
Special forces dudes obviously got there eventually, but like the closest special forces dudes are like somewhere up in like Europe.
So you guys are, and then also to explain, you're a lieutenant, so you're in charge of a platoon.
Right. So yeah, as a lieutenant, you're partnered up with a senior enlisted guy, which is typically an E7. My E7's been in the Army for 16 years. And I'd been in the Army coming up on, going on 2.5 years.
Oh, really? I thought it was more than that.
No.
2.5.
Yeah. So, like, obviously, the experience is so varying. So, like, a lot of times, people kind of don't have a great relationship with what you call the platoon sergeant. I'm a platoon leader, platoon sergeant. And it's because they don't really listen.
In the terms? Is that the same terms?
Platoon sergeant is the senior enlisted guy, and then I'd be the platoon leader. Typically, officers are like young. You can go the enlisted route first, but they're typically younger guys, inexperienced. Like the platoon leader time, like you are the highest in command technically in the platoon. Like you're in charge of everything.
Woody woo.
Beautiful. Look at that.
This is a two-plate situation.
I was like, that is greasy. You're in all those shots. I don't know why you squatted.
Gary's Pizza is getting the plug today.
Jerry's Pizza. Yeah.
Jerry.
It's delicious.
Dig in. So, trying to figure out exactly what you're doing. So you guys are protecting the U.S. embassies in Africa. Is there a reason you guys were called recently?
So I think the main reason, like I said, like we're the closest.
Well, why? Because I had a couple other friends that were stationed in Africa recently. So they're just things are getting more volatile, or just happen to need people in Africa.
So Africa's been a pretty hot spot. I mean, Al-Shabaab is pretty active there anyway. So I think it was just because like that was we have a base in Somalia. While we were there, they got attacked by Al-Shabaab, but they had enough people there to defend it. The little base that we went to didn't.
What's Al-Shabaab's goal then?
Kill anyone that's not a
Muslim.
Yeah.
Do they have similar ideals to ISIS?
Yeah, it's like I said,
African ISIS.
best way to describe it.
So it still comes down to religious persecution for them.
Yeah, like after they attacked the base in Kenya, like they went through like a local town and like killed all the teachers that weren't Muslim at a school and like kidnapped one that was. Like, they are.
So if your guys' job is to protect the embassy, if they're doing shit like that, going through towns and killing civilians, you guys interfere with that?
Nope, stay on American area.
Let them deal with their...
Yeah, like that's not our job.
Slouch, can we get a picture of Al-Shabaab up? I want to see these fuckers.
There's also a New York Times article about what happened. That could probably give you the limit of what I can say.
They draw a good line. And so then you were in Africa for how long?
9 months in Africa.
That was during COVID?
COVID. So we left in September. COVID started happening right around March. Because we were supposed to go back March 6th.
And then you went back to your base outside of Nashville.
Yeah, after the 9 months, so we flew back. And
a secret location deep in the Somali bush.
How many Al-Shabaabers do you think there are?
oh, I have no idea. I think it's upwards of like 20,000.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah, I would have to double check that, but there's
So
a
they're
lot.
like decently militant.
Yeah.
They look pretty militant.
Pissed about something.
They just trained 300 new guys.
You know where they get their weapons?
So it happened like a long time ago, not a long time ago, but a while ago. Like Russia was in Africa and like Iraq and stuff, and we kind of funded their uprising.
But it was a long time ago.
And then we came in, and then they used the same shit against us.
We kind of funded their uprising. And that was like why? Why would we fund their uprising?
To get Russia out of there, I think is how it boiled down.
Okay.
I'm not too versed on all that. That's like,
But it's public knowledge.
yeah, like you can Google it and. Like, I think the Al-Shabaab attack that happened on the Kenyan base, there was, like, children. Like,
Children attacking.
yeah. So it's...
I remember reading a book a while ago, and it was about pretty much African terrorist groups recruiting children. Shit's pretty terrible. It's like not like the kids ever had a choice. They were just born into it, and then they're out. You got fucking 8, 10, 12-year-olds.
Well, and when you're that age, you're so susceptible to, like, whatever your surroundings
you're
teaching.
told.
Yeah. Like, so they'll believe anything.
Yeah. They probably think they're doing right.
Yeah. And, like, it's always, like, the weird analogy I like to think of is, like, the Empire in Star Wars, the Resistance. Like, we are technically the Empire. Like, we're the bad guys in that scenario, you know? And, like, these guys are the Resistance. Like, they have their own motives. I mean, there's no true justification for killing people off religious purposes.
Yeah, but they think they're doing
Absolutely. That's fucked up.
Yeah, like I mean, like the Christian Crusades were also something I think is
Yeah.
terrible.
Abominable.
Yeah. Like,
Absolutely.
no matter what religion's doing it, it's still just messed up. But
Yeah,
so this is
religious
like modern
persecution
day.
is just
So in the
so outdated.
in the Middle East, we do interfere and protect like civilians, right? In some cases, like protect towns and civilians. We're not doing that in Africa or just here and there.
I mean, I'm not too sure on the whole of Africa. I don't know if you know this. Africa's pretty big.
I did not know that.
I think like it's like the size of 4 or 5 United States.
Fuck.
Holy crap.
Like it's massive. Like the maps that we see, like they shrink the size of Africa, and it is just gigantic. So we kind of focus on certain areas because we're in the eastern part of Africa.
But mostly what we're doing in Africa is protecting U.S. embassies in our territory.
I would
It's not
say that, like,
fighting them necessarily.
I would say that was our focus. I think there's definitely like people out there too.
Somebody's chasing these fuckers down.
Right. Yeah. Like, why else would we have a base in Somalia? So I think like we're out there trying to help these countries develop because nothing's better than an ally that you helped grow, kind of thing. But then Al-Shabaab is out here to stop that kind of.
Yeah, they realize that you guys are a threat to their livelihood or interests.
And it's not like in Iraq and Afghanistan, like where they're so. My bad.
No, Keaton.
They're so prevalent that we're like rolling through cities and stuff like a lot of our stuff was a lot.
Yeah, they'd be doing cartwheels and shit. Or whatever that is.
That was pretty skillful.
So these are the guys that you had to take on, huh?
All right, to change the subject a little bit.
Yeah, let's a little real serious talk here.
Right.
What kind of animals you see out there? Monkeys?
So in Djibouti, pretty much all I saw were like camels, goats, and baboons. But like tiny baboons. Like I'm talking like baboons like the size of a house cat. Maybe up to a small dog.
Little cuties, huh?
Yeah, I mean they still got giant red asses, but yeah. Whatever we'd go
Would
out.
they be a good pet though?
I don't think so, man. Baboons are pretty aggressive.
Okay.
You
need the nice little monkeys.
Yeah, we were told to avoid those.
Maybe like a dwarf baboon.
Well, they were already dwarfed. So when we went to Kenya, the animals we saw there, we saw lions, saw panthers, we saw like an African like water buffalo.
Oh yeah.
like real close. Like at night, they're like pretty scary.
Oh dude, that's super frightening.
And then
a giant beast.
the baboons there are bigger. Like at one point, it like jumped up on one of the Humvees and was like bashing in the hood and stuff. They're big. Like they stole. Like we have MREs. Like our food is MREs, and like a baboon like stole a case in each arm and was like running away with them.
Little bastard.
Wait, this is pretty weird. There's a monkey in Kenya that has blue balls. Can you pull up a picture of the blue ball monkey?
Let's see the blue ball monkey. I'm trying to see them testes. Do you guys interact with them? Anyone ever like catch one or anything?
No. The other thing that they had there were like centipedes, but like this long and like that big around, and they're really light, so you don't really feel them crawling on you.
Yeah.
And you grab them with like.
They poisonous?
No, they don't bite. If they bit, you'd be overwhelmed. There's literally like if you walk like 100 meters, you're gonna step on at least 6 of them. Like just crunch, crunch, crunch. They're everywhere. Yeah, that was
them African centipedes.
Yeah, like I'd never seen that before. It was terrifying.
Everything's bigger in Africa.
Yeah, I
What
saw
about-
an anteater, but
What about like bugs and shit?
centipedes.
What about spiders?
I didn't see any spiders. There's a black mamba and a green mamba. Like they're pretty prevalent there because in Kenya there's a dense jungle. Like you can barely walk through it. There's green mambas and black mambas and stuff.
You guys have to trek through the jungle?
We didn't know.
Staying out of that shit.
Yeah, I stayed away from that as much as I could. Are these the monkeys with blue balls? Oh, you can see it.
Beautiful. Pink ass blue balls.
It's real cute.
I wish you'd show a close up because it's like bright.
Yeah, it is like concerningly bright blue.
Give us a close up on them nuts.
Yeah, it's not like you wouldn't think that nature has blues like that.
All natural. They'd be hiding their balls right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to show it.
They're
They're
being-
blue balls.
Being bashful.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the extent of the animals that I saw there. I'm sure there's others, but
Okay, to change gears again, we were talking before, and you mentioned like having women in your platoon. You have women in.
yeah, I had one female in my platoon. So infantry just recently let women into combat arms. So that was like been a real controversial topic. It's still controversial. I think a lot of people's concerns is that they're held to like a different standard when everyone wants to be held to the same standard.
Are you allowed to like give your opinion on that? Talk about.
I mean, I think if a female can be held to the same standard as any of my other soldiers, I have no issues. Like if they're able to do the same stuff that I expect anyone else to do, more
But
power.
the concern is that
So concept. A Disney movie where they have the female in the platoon.
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 Sorry.
I'm just trying to help you out.
But female falls in love with some dude in the platoon and it
Platoon.
somehow gets excused or I don't know.
It doesn't need to be a Disney movie. That happens daily.
It should be.
That's fair. But it'd be good for Disney to like over glorify it. I feel like that's a funny concept
We
to
don't need
over
any more.
glorify.
We don't need any more of it.
Glorifying the military.
You have to cut this next part out because I don't want to shame someone that's still in my platoon. Okay.
Cut.
Resume.
The problem is that you don't necessarily, you want to make sure that you can rely on her to protect yourself, but then also there's concern of your other men where
Right.
she can't protect herself, then she can't necessarily protect your
You
other
become a liability. Like that's why like physical fitness is such a huge part of the military, is because if you can't carry the weight, someone else is gonna have to carry it for you.
Right.
Like if you, and like the same thing goes, like if you get injured, someone's gonna have to carry your stuff and you.
Mm-hmm.
And, like if you can't carry someone, like you become that liability. So I think like the main concern was like on the last, we call it an APFT, Army Physical Fitness Test. Women had a different standard. Like the max number of push-ups a woman had to do was basically equivalent to the guy's minimum. Same thing for like the 2 mile run time, sit-ups. Sit-ups are the same. But there's a new PT test that's supposed to be rolling out called the ACFT, where the standards are based on your job. No age, no sex. It's just because of your job, you have to meet this standard.
They're doing that?
Because then you're qualifying for a skill set.
Right.
Makes
Holding
sense.
everyone to the same standard. Hey, you got a really good shot right there. Can we roll that back? Like,
Roll
just a
back
couple
those
seconds.
Sweet blue balls.
You're not picking up audio from that, are you, Brady? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Whole
my
screen
God.
full. That looks
Looks-
painful.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need as pets. Monkeys with blue balls.
That'd be fucking dope.
Poor guy.
Oh man. Yeah, that was funny to see.
Blue ball ass looking ass.
Oh. Wow, they really gave us the full show now.
With the zooming.
Hey, I'm kind of glad this tree's blocking some of it. It's a lot.
So, currently there's 2 different standards, one for male, one for female.
Right.
And that's to get into basic, but then even after that.
Not to get it. So there's like so officers and enlisted do a different kind of train up. Enlisted go through basic combat training. Officers go through eyeball. A minimum to get in. There's a minimum to pass. Because they pretty much take anyone. They can get them into shape. I mean, it's like 21 weeks for infantry to get trained up. So in that time, like where you're working out daily, sometimes twice a day, like you're gonna get in shape. And like you're not like sitting on the couch anymore. You're trained to be a soldier. So I think that can get anyone into good enough shape. Not necessarily like prime. Yeah, it is a different standard, and that's changing. It was supposed to happen in October.
That sounds like a sham to me, though.
Major sham. Like, how can
hold them to the same standard if you really want equality?
I agree. Like, and especially when it comes down to like people's lives, is like the thing. Like, if someone gets shot, you have to be able to drag them and their equipment. Like, with all your equipment on, you're heavy. Like, no matter how small you are, it's like you have so much ammo, a weapon, body armor. Like, you're not just like 180. You're like 220. You know, like, you're loaded down.
Is there any animosity between men in the military and women? Like, men are like always giving them shit or anything like that, or just accepted?
I think if it does happen, it happens more behind closed doors. Like, the Army's pretty, like, there's something called equal opportunity and SHARP. SHARP is sexual harassment awareness.
Something about sexual harassment.
Yeah, it's about. God. Wow. The fact
sexual
that I can't think.
harassment. It's an acronym.
Yeah.
SHARP.
But yeah.
So yeah, they don't get sexually. They should.
Right. So the Army's really serious about that now. So if anyone hears you saying anything that's like discriminatory against, I think the protected categories and equal opportunity are like race, sex, religion, and sexual orientation. You get in pretty big trouble. So
damn, the Army's pretty liberal.
I think it's just to make people like you can't have people like fighting next to each other. Like if you are like saying things like that about them. Like, I think we do have a pretty close knit group of people, and I think like when that stuff gets involved, it does make it pretty. Yeah, take another. Oh, you want?
So they come down on any kind of animosity between.
As long as it gets reported, which there's been a lot of encouragement to report that kind of stuff, obviously.
And then what happens? What are consequences? What are consequences in general and for something like that?
So it varies on how severe it was, and that kind of situation. Like, it can do anything from like you get reduced rank, you get reduction in pay, or they can even take away your pay completely. If it's like really serious, like you like raped a girl or something, that's just abysmal. Then you can go to like Fort Leavenworth, which is like military prison. That's like the main things. They take away your time and your money, basically, to punish you.
How common do people end up in military prison?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Never known anyone to go in?
No, I haven't known anyone to go to military prison. I think that probably doesn't happen very often because most of the stuff that gets reported is usually EO. There is SHARP reports, but I mean everything is taken real seriously. And I know personally, like when I had the female in my platoon, like I told her like off the bat, like if any of this happens, like you need to let me know immediately because this shit doesn't stand with me. And I think it starts at that level, like the low levels, just enforcing that idea that like it's not okay, and you can tell me, and that I think it continues to build the trust, and like you work better together when everyone knows they can trust each other.
Yeah, can't imagine the level of trust you need. Feel like we have to trust our employees at the shop, you know, to make sure they give out the right product. But I can't imagine that level of trust where you're depending on, you know, someone to save your life or and keep you alive. You know,
like we didn't have to worry about that in our situation, but it's still something we have to train for and be mentally prepared for. So that's like something we kind of just continue to try to reinforce to our people is like you gotta be there for each other. You gotta like you can't be carrying anything about like that that person's lifestyle. Like that person is there next to you. We call them battle buddies. Like your battle buddy, you guys need to fight together, survive together, kind of thing.
Get past any other bullshit.
Yeah, and I think my guys did a really good job of that. Like in the military, it's a very dark sense of humor, very crude. They joke about death a lot. Like I don't know if you've seen anything like from Vet TV. You should throw up something for Vet TV on there. That it gives you a pretty good example, like military like mannerisms and jokes and stuff. You probably won't get a lot of it, but I mean, like the stuff we talk about, joke about, is morbid. It's gross. It's it's very crude.
Probably hilarious.
Oh, I think it's great. Like some of the stuff you hear, like because like think about it, like some of these kids are like 18, 19, 20 years old. Like I had a dude in my platoon who was born in 2000.
Yep. Jeez.
Like,
kids.
Right. So, and he's old. Like, he can be 18 in the Army. Like, so the stuff they say, their interactions they have.
You could be working with somebody that was born in 2002.
Yeah.
That always trips me out.
Do you want to go into that, I forget her name, but she was found...
Oh, yeah, Vanessa G or something like that. The girl at Fort Hood. I think that is just like super fucked up at all levels. Like,
what's a recap of the story? Because I don't know that Kurt's heard it.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know how that happens. Because if one of my soldiers went missing for like more than like 12 hours, I would start freaking out.
So what's like the outline of the story?
So yeah, basically she went missing for...
She was in the Army?
Yeah, she's stationed at Fort Hood, Texas, which is a massive base, like 300 and something square miles. It's huge.
Oh, shit.
And she was stationed there and she went missing. And it gained a lot of traction. The story did, kind of during like the Black Lives Matter protests against George Floyd and all that. And they kind of brought attention to that. And as the story developed, turns out like one guy killed himself like as soon as they like started getting more information on it, because they found out he ended up killing her.
And another military member?
Yeah, her team leader or something like that, who was in charge of her leadership, basically, killed her. And then he called his girlfriend to help him bury the body. And then they just kind of went like under the radar, I guess. Like, I don't know how. It's like I don't even know the detailed part of it, but like typically if someone goes missing, obviously you look for them, call friends and family and stuff like that, talk to people in the unit, and then like if they're still not responding, generally you just assume they're AWOL, absent without leave. Like they're just kind of like even they weren't allowed to, kind of just like hiding from the Army. And like I don't even know if that was reported for her.
But somehow they suspected that she was murdered.
Yeah, I think they kind of started looking like through, I don't know, like the situation or something. And I guess when someone kills themselves,
it throws up a red flag.
Right.
Was there any reason for him? Not that there would ever be a reason, but like, what do you know what his reason?
I think he was like sexually harassing her. I don't know the detail. Obviously, I don't think we'll ever know because both parties are dead. Yeah. But I think it was like a sexual harassment thing. Maybe she threatened to go to the leadership about it or something.
Oh. That's like the one person she should be able to rely on.
Right. It's like your first line supervisors should be someone that you can trust and depend. And that's why I think it starts at that low level. Like you could breed a culture of people that respect each other and like that. Like you see someone's like, first of all, like it's hard. I understand it's hard to report that stuff too. Like it's embarrassing. But like if it's reported, that dude fired immediately from his position, and they'd probably try to kick him out of the Army. Like they'd reduce his rank, probably not pay him, and
it's possible she tried to report him, but he got
maybe she threatened to it. And something happened, but yeah, I think it's like I just don't know how like she was gone for 2 months without any like investigation.
So they ended up finding her
2 months.
Before they found her
insane.
remains. Yeah.
Damn.
Well, yeah, it's pretty
there's not too much recourse after that. Maybe the girlfriend that helped.
Yeah, I think she is gonna probably be an accomplice to murder.
She's got to be facing some serious charges.
And like you could pull up pictures of like the guys that did it and stuff. Like he looks like a normal guy, like girlfriend, just normal people. Kind of crazy on
Actual
that.
fucking psychopaths.
Yeah, like I just can't imagine. First of all, treating someone like that, and then murdering him too. Like,
especially in a military setting, it seems extra
profound.
Yeah.
I mean, it does happen. Like the military is a breed of every person. Mm-hmm. You get people from all walks of life. So like obviously you can't. There's no like analysis you can do of a person. Like make sure they're not a murderer or a rapist or a racist or anything. Like
you get what you get.
Right.
Everyone's different.
And the reason people are calling for like higher level investigation is because like that should have been reported higher that you have a missing soldier, and like obviously somewhere along that line it didn't happen. So someone from this is definitely going to be in a lot of trouble, and they should be, because a missing soldier is not something we should just
forget about.
Right.
Yeah, that shows that we're slipping up hard.
Yeah, that's honestly the guy who murdered her.
Accomplice. Right.
Bludgeoned to death with a hammer. Jeez.
And like I can see it from like a senior leadership level too. Like they're obviously not the ones like directly involved in that.
Yeah.
And they do have to maintain like she could have been AWOL. They don't know, but it's a sticky situation. It's something you don't have to see.
Yeah, that shows like a flaw in the system, and even if they weren't responsible for it at the top, they maybe should have had procedures or.
I mean, I'm sure they do.
They found her.
Right. It's just crazy to think about, and something that like I guess you wouldn't know how you handle it until you're in that situation.
Yeah. To lighten it up a little.
Yeah, we've been pretty dark here.
I wanted to ask you about your Rona experience. I know you talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But so when they were quarantining, you were where?
I was in Djibouti.
You were in Djibouti when quarantine went down.
Yeah. So we went from being like a base with 2 24-hour gyms. You can get like they said there was like a soccer field, workout equipment all over the place. You can go shop. Like there was like not a shop, but like a little store where you can get stuff you needed. There was even yeah, you're good. There's even like a place like you can go get your hair cut, massages even. Like it was a pretty laid back situation to be in. And then once COVID happened, all that shut down, and because we were deemed like vital to the function of everything, we were pretty much stuck in our rooms like 20 plus hours a day.
That's so insane to me.
20 plus hours a day.
Yeah, and like for me being a lieutenant, like I got my own room, shared a bathroom with someone else. You're living in metal conics. It's like this big metal box. Obviously, they put stuff in it. They have a bed and everything. But the junior soldiers, they usually had a roommate, and they didn't have a bathroom. They had to like walk out to go take a shower and anything like that. But yeah, it got pretty boring there for a while. Like the gyms weren't open, so if you're gonna work out, like you don't want to work out in the sun because it's so hot, like 100 something degrees every day there. So wait till night. So we pretty much all got like on like a reverse cycle, which put us back on the timeline of people over here same time. So I'd wake up the same time people over here did, so I could talk to my family more. And then I got really good at Call of Duty. Thankfully we had internet.
Some Call of Duty training.
Yeah, man, I was dropping a lot of hours on Call of Duty for sure.
And how long did that last for? That you were stuck in the room for 20 hours a day?
Pretty much up until like maybe like 2 weeks before we left. So we left in June, the first part of June.
How many months?
March,
Oh,
March, April, May, and then most of May. Most of May, so March, April. So 2.5 months.
Stuck in a room.
Stuck in a room. Lost my tan. You know, started going a little stir crazy. You can only do so much to entertain yourself
Yeah.
at that point. So like, it was. I think the Call of Duty was more than just like something to do. Like it let me talk to friends back home. And, you know, kind of still maintain that social aspect of your life. Because I think that's pretty important.
Absolutely.
You don't understand how much you need interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And we thought we had it bad here in the Americas. Like, all the bars are closed. But at least we can, like, walk outside.
Yeah. I mean, we could walk outside.
Go to a friend's house.
Yeah. I know I had a buddy, he was just a couple, like, rooms down from mine. And we'd watch movies and stuff together. But it's a small room.
So there's no training at that point either?
No, they shut down pretty much all training across all of the Army. Like, a lot of that stuff got shut down.
How would that have played out? Like, you guys always have to train to keep sharp, right? So how does that play out when it's like, you guys should continue training?
I mean, on a deployment, you're typically not required to train as much because you train up to a deployment. Like, you're certified to do that mission. Okay. I mean, we still did training just to keep people busy. Otherwise, you're sitting there doing nothing. And nothing starts more trouble than a bored soldier.
Yeah. Exactly.
But thankfully, no trouble for us. It was just, I think everyone knew that, like, temporary, we can. A lot of people were playing a lot of video games. Some people got fat.
What kind of technology can you talk about that we should know about?
Technology, like in the Army?
Yeah. Do you guys have like anything that would surprise us that exists?
I mean, it depends on how much you know.
I don't know anything. Is there any freaking laser beams?
I have no idea. I have no idea about it. Like I said, infantry is like our main primary weapons are like an M4, an M240 Bravo, which is a machine gun that shoots a 7.62, an M249 SAW, which is a machine gun that shoots the same round as a 5.5 or the M4. Then we have like a Modus, which is a 50 cal machine gun. We have a Mark 19, which is an automatic grenade launcher.
50 cal machine gun?
Yeah, you can pull up a video of a Modus.
That sounds fucking
Those things are
badass.
big too. They're heavy.
You shot them?
I've never had to shoot them. So as an officer, like your job is to control. You're not supposed to be like in the front shooting. You're supposed to be controlling like how people maneuver and like where to shoot and stuff like that. So you're more of like the big picture guy.
I get you.
Yeah. So I mean, I've shot an AT-4, which is a rocket.
What was that?
That was fun. Oh boy, here we go. Here's a Modus.
I got a question for you after this too.
It might take a second for him to start shooting. It seems like he's just setting up the tripod. Oh, he's just setting up his camera.
What's your question, Kurt?
Yeah, go ahead and send the question.
Alright, deep underground military bases.
Oh god.
I have no idea.
Real or fake?
I have no idea.
That's what they pay
You've
him
heard
to
of
say.
it.
I don't know, man. Legitimately no idea.
But you've heard of it though, right?
No.
What?
Like underground bases?
Yeah, it's like apparently it's a thing that you can like.
We had a little bit of a wacky
locations on.
customer come in one time and tell us about that, and he promises there's DUMBs, multiple in the U.S., deep underground military base, and the technology down there is like nothing you'd ever imagine.
Oh, yeah. I'm an infantryman. We shoot people. We don't really...
Above your pay grade.
Yeah, we don't really get into deep technology. Oh, you gave us something that I can know where my people are? Blow my mind.
This is the law.
Yeah, it's called a M2 50 cal. People just call it the Modus.
What about drones?
Drones?
Like, you guys fuck with drones at all?
We have something that's a small little, like, throwable drone that you throw up and it'll buzz around.
That just for like scouting?
Yeah, it's called a Raven. Those are like well known. Just hand launch. Chuck it up. Yeah, not quite that advanced. You know, they're like styrofoam and people.
No, you didn't see those?
No.
Yeah, they're little tiny like paper ones. Even the terrorists were using them.
Oh.
And they're flying them. We had attached C4 to them.
Dang. Yeah, so we got those, and they get like obviously bigger drones like.
Who would be like operating drones?
That's
Look
Air
at that
Force
bell.
does like the
Holy
bigger
crap.
drones. We have the Ravens, but Air Force is typically operating anything bigger. That's their domain.
Yeah.
I mean, we have helicopters and stuff, but like Air Force is like big drones. Big drones. Oh yeah, there we go.
That looks stupid.
It's big. It's heavy. It takes like 2 people to carry that. You gotta take the barrel off, and then someone else carries the other part.
That motherfucker gets so hot.
I wouldn't know. I've never touched the barrel. Probably cook bacon on it though.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
Can you
dude.
imagine?
It's a slow-paced video.
Yeah, let her rip.
Yeah.
Shit.
You know that motherfucker's ready to rock and roll.
Our buddy got caught in Rockford with a 50 cal machine gun.
What?
Yeah,
He has one of these?
he did. He was in the nefarious activities, and he got caught,
Look at those shells.
pulled over with a bunch of bullshit and a 50 cal machine gun for some reason.
Why would you ever?
Oh.
That thing's purpose is like destroying vehicles. like that bullet is that big.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the Mark 19 is pretty cool. It's a automatic grenade launcher.
Ooh.
Dum, 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 dum. And that thing's fun. So right now I'm in a what they call a heavy weapons company. So we have vehicles with mounted weapons like this, like what they have. Oh, what the heck is she got on that thing? Never seen one like this.
I think guys could watch videos of women shooting all day.
I bet it goes into slow-mo or some shit. Whoa.
Oh, she's single fire. But yeah, they're cool as shit. And then fun.
Yeah.
That's something that they're also finicky. Like everything made by the army.
It's all a little finicky.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Handheld. Oh my god.
Now that looks like some jackass.
I don't even know how he's holding it like that. Like that's gotta be so much recoil.
Need me one of those.
You can get a permit and get one. Cost you some money, but I mean, trying to buy one that probably costs like $30,000.
Yeah. Sounds worth it though. It looks
Well,
worth it.
and then the ammo is like $3 a shot. He shoulder fired them? Yeah, we pretty much only shoot those mounted onto something, either a tripod or on a vehicle.
Yeah. Not for being mobile.
Yeah, you're not supposed to just run around with one of those guys. And,
Yeah, that looks like it would sit really good on an SUV.
oh, that would, like, if you shoot a vehicle in the engine block, like, that'll stop it.
Oh, for sure. I believe that.
Yeah, throw up the Mark 19. That thing is motivating.
That auto grenade launcher?
Yeah,
That sounds hilarious.
those are the rounds.
Oh, shit, dude.
The Marines shooting them.
So how much do those cost?
Oh, I don't think you can buy those.
But, like, they cost something.
Yeah, I have
Somebody's
no
paying
idea,
for
but
it.
Someone, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
American taxpayer.
A lot of someone's are paying for it.
I'm sure they're expensive, but yeah, we don't really know the price. We just
Just
request a
fucking
certain
blast them.
Yeah, how often do you guys actually shoot them?
I think the soldiers shoot more than like I would, but we try to get them like depends. Like so, it's weird. Like the army, like in the infantry, it's like a training cycle. It's like the first thing you do is like individual stuff, so like qualifying on the weapons. Like you are just shooting them at targets, making sure you're accurate. And then you do like low level stuff where it's like a team, like 4 dudes are like maneuvering and shooting weapons. and then you go up to like a squad, and then a platoon is usually the biggest we'll do for a live fire with real bullets. But I mean, guys are shooting in like a heat of a training cycle, like probably a couple times a month.
Do you guys have snipers?
Yeah, that's a specific like section. They're called the scout team, and they have a sniper team within that. So it's like its own platoon, and they have snipers. But
I was talking to a buddy, and he was saying that like typically how snipers operate is they have a dude who scouts or looks out for targets, and then they have the actual shooter.
spotter and a shooter.
Yeah, spotter and shooter. It's still like that.
I mean, it can be. You don't necessarily need a spotter unless you're like shooting like really far.
Yeah. I was thinking like with all of our technology and shit, we still need 2 people to do that. There's not just like a gadget to just
It's
tell
just
you.
helpful because like as a shooter, like you're focused on so many other things, and you're also focused on trying to make those corrections.
Okay.
It's such a long range shot. It's hard to see where it impacts and stuff like that. There's a recoil. Like the spotter has no recoil. He's just looking right there. So he'll be able to tell you how much better to adjust.
Okay.
But that thing just screams freedom.
Sounds like this dirt needs some freedom.
So what would you normally like use that on?
Vehicles, buildings, people.
Buffaloes.
Yeah, I think that thing would probably tear up a buffalo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh,
the Air
yeah.
Force right there. A-10 Warthog. Oh, we're blowing up some baddies now.
That thing screams freedom.
That is the most freedom screaming thing. You watch this. This is gonna disappear.
Dumb though. Oh,
Look at the holes in it.
Oh my god. That's a fucking scary noise. If you ever hear that shit.
Oh, there's videos
You
of
done.
people like they have like people used to be able to wear GoPros in Afghanistan and stuff. And there's videos of people like middle of firefights and like they hear air supports coming in and thank you.
Little assistance.
Yeah, those things are scary.
That thing looks mean.
Yeah, have you ever seen? There's a movie called The Outpost.
Mm-mm.
It's about this like it's called a cop in Afghanistan that had it was like in a valley at the bottom of these mountains. Had like 53 dudes in it, and they got attacked by like 300 Taliban one day, and they fended them off.
Whoa.
It's pretty crazy. Like I think seven people died, and
Fucked up the Taliban though.
well, once air support got there, I mean, obviously they were doing well.
That's an idiot.
They were doing well up until that point, but yeah,
Shredded.
dropped bombs and helicopters came in.
Yeah, so like as far as military might, we're number 1 by far. Right.
I mean, I would say that Russia and China probably aren't far behind.
Yeah. We spend a lot more in military than any other country, right?
That we report. I mean, you can't trust
That's true.
everything everyone reports.
That's true. That's true. It's just what's reported.
Yeah.
What's the best part about being in the army?
I would say it's like the people you get to work with, like getting to see every different like walk of life come in and then be able to work together, and like just getting to know your soldiers and like understanding where they come from and how to motivate people to do things that are shitty.
Yeah, you got to be pretty emotionally intelligent
To do it well,
right?
or you can just yell at them. Like
Right.
you have multiple options.
But you got to understand where somebody's coming from and
how to work with people. I think it's like, and it's like in the most extreme sense, like you're working with people, you're training up to like prepare for in case you do literally potentially die or risk. And like you want to make sure like if you were ever injured or unable to fight anymore or lead, that your platoon is able to go on without you. Like you don't want to be so crucial that they can't, like a business. Like you don't want to be that guy that has to do everything. Like you want to be able to just like say, hey, this is what I want done, and then
Gotta be replaceable to some
train
extent.
the next guy up. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's like really rewarding. I think a lot of the stuff we do a lot of stuff right in the military. We do a lot of stuff wrong too, but like when it comes to like evaluating people, like people are due an evaluation every time they change their leader, or it's every year minimum. It's like you have to like sit down with them and tell them this is what you've done, so I think you can improve. And like monthly, you're supposed to counsel people on like how they can improve what they're doing well. And I think that's something that like everyone could do, like especially in like businesses where performance is something that's crucial. You sit down every month with your employees and like tell them like, hey man, like this is what you're messing up, this is what you're doing good.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, from what you said, I can relate to it. I think Kurt and I can relate to it. It's like you have people under you have to watch out for. Same with us. We have to know how to communicate with them. You know, it's obviously not life or death in our scenario.
Right. But it is transferable, like relatable stuff.
Yeah, minus the whole life or death part.
Yeah.
It's very relatable. You got to make sure that everyone's working together, and you know, you have certain standards set.
Right. And upholding the standard yourself, and like making sure everyone else is too. It's an interesting experience. Like sometimes you get people that are underperformers, and like your goal is to motivate them to be a performer. Like you know,
What's cool, I think, in your case is that you at least had all of these systems established for hundreds of thousands of years, you know, hundreds of years, right? Like whatever procedures and systems you guys have set. Whereas for like maybe a new business owner, it's like now we have to like write these procedures out and figure shit out as we go along. At least you guys have more structure.
Like, yeah, we definitely have like doctrine that we're supposed to follow, and like obviously that's constantly updating and changing with the times. Yeah, but like.
It's like an age-old process kind of thing, like tried and true. Like this is how you do it.
Yeah, like there's definitely, but I mean that also transfers into just leadership in general, like being a good boss or being a good infantry leader or anything like that. Like it translates down to like the people skills. For me, physically fit is something too, but that's something you guys don't have to worry about. That one's like, man, he can't run 2 miles fast.
Like, that's fine.
Like 2 miles, you guys are like. Drive a couple miles. Drive.
So how much longer are you planning on being in the military?
So right now I'm currently slated to switch my jobs in about 18 months. So right now I'm in the infantry, which is like, you know, boots on the ground kind of frontline forces. And then I'm going to switch into finance, which is an office job. I mean, I'm already in an office job as a platoon leader, but it's more of like a very laid back. You can do different stuff in the Army, and you know, you're just handling finances. Like you can either be procurement or contracts, stuff like that. And that's what I'm going to do next. So I'm excited for that, just because the infantry is tough on your body, you know, carrying all that equipment around, running so much.
Then you're going to take that knowledge and
I'm going to try to go to Stanford and get my MBA, so I can get out of that and start making some good money. I mean, it pays me well, but you know, not like Stanford well. I'd like to be, you know, seeing that like 180 mark
for sure.
Yeah. And like that's another thing, like a lot of people don't like, they think the Army's not a great career choice, but I make more money than most of my peers. So I mean, you can Google how much someone makes in the Army. It's public knowledge.
Yeah.
So as a platoon leader, I'm an O2 first lieutenant with I'll come up on like 2 years, I make like 75, and then at the 3-year mark you make 80. And at the 4-year mark, you get another promotion to captain. You make it like 95.
It's good money.
That's definitely solid.
It's not bad money. And then, you know, like, compared to what like my peers are making on the outside when they graduated college, it works out pretty well.
Would you say that military members are still underpaid? Do you feel like they're paid pretty appropriately?
It's kind of hard to think about. It depends on it. Like because it's a set system, you can't cater it to every individual. Like some guys are coming to the Army with kids, right? So maybe they're not making enough,
or maybe they have college degrees or not, but that doesn't matter, right?
Well, typically, if you come in with a college degree, if you go with the enlisted route, you'll be promoted up to the E4. It goes E1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So you do get paid more for a college degree?
Yeah, or you can just go to the officer route. That's the qualification to be an officer, is to have a college degree. They don't always tell everyone about it because recruiting doesn't necessarily get the same credit they do for recruiting officers they would a soldier. But yeah, so you get more credit if you had a college degree. But like if they have kids, like it's hard to account for. versus like an 18-year-old coming fresh out of high school. Like he doesn't need much. Like your housing's paid for, your food's paid for. They give you a clothing allowance for your military clothes on top of giving you uniforms and stuff like that. Like their outward expense isn't high. That's why you see so many young military guys buying nice cars because they don't have any expense. Like you came fresh out of high school, you have zero expenses.
Yeah,
and you're not making much, probably like 20,000-30,000 a year, but you're not paying for housing. You're
Right.
paying for food.
So that you can actually spend that on
Whatever they want. And a lot of them, you see a lot of guys driving around really nice cars.
yeah.
But they're living in the barracks. So a lot of times you see, that's why you always see young guys get married, is so they can get out of the barracks and get a house. They pay you additional money once you're married or have a kid to live in a house.
Really?
Yeah, or get an apartment off base.
Wow. So there's like a pretty
Incentive.
serious incentive.
That's why you see all like the jokes about like guys marrying strippers and stuff like that. Because like,
Well, marry someone.
yeah, you're gonna marry someone. And so you see it a lot. I mean, it's not.
Why does that incentive exist?
Well, you don't want to have someone married and living in the barracks. Like you can't bring a civilian into the barracks like to live there. So they give you an option.
So there just like happens to be an incentive. It's not like they're trying.
Yeah, they're not trying to force you to be married. It's just
Yeah.
because like if a dude joined and he's married, they're not gonna be like, yeah, you have to live separate from your wife.
Yeah.
It's like that double-edged sword. It's got its like reasonings, but it's got people taking advantage of it.
Right. That's one that begs to be taken advantage of.
So in a situation where someone's married, they could live with their wife, and then they show up to work every day.
Yeah,
and they go
same thing.
back
I
home.
like as an officer, you're allowed to live off base automatically. So obviously we're not in the barracks, so I have an apartment. I just drive into work every day. Military bases, most of the people live off of it. Commute and everything. So
Thought about opening a business on a military base because of what you were saying about them blowing money.
just outside the gate, you'd be good.
Yeah.
Like if you can get a vape shop going right outside one of the
Oh,
gates, like
yeah.
the military has a huge like community that does that. So
Yeah.
especially like if you offer a military discount at all, people will eat that up.
Oh hell yeah.
Freedom vapes.
Right there, dude.
America.
Veterans?
America's vapors.
Veterans.
Yeah.
We had a
You
shop
had the
in
right
town called
idea,
Veteran-
but in the wrong
you?
place.
Veteran Vapor, yeah. They didn't last very long.
What was the
It was veteran owned,
Yeah.
veteran operated?
very veteran incentivized.
I mean, the
Kinda.
veteran community is interesting because like I said, it's all walks of life, and now they're out. So,
What do you think about the VFW?
have you ever been to one?
No, I've heard quite a bit, and it seems like most people who are out of the military feel like the VFW doesn't take care of them. Like the
Oh, you mean the VA?
VA, my bad.
Okay, I was VFW
My
the
bad.
bar. I'm like, man, my
I have
opinion
been
is
to a
they have cheap
VFW.
beer. Like, I don't know what else is there to really say.
Yeah, you get fucked up there.
So I
You
guess
can walk into most VFWs without.
VA.
the VA. Yeah, I mean,
It seems underfunded.
it's a bureaucratic system, like the government is in any situation. So there's always going to be red tape and paperwork to get anything done. And in bureaucratic system, there's like no incentive to work harder.
Yeah, it's like the DMV.
Yeah,
We're like,
they're there no matter what.
Yeah.
If they see more people or see less people, it doesn't
Yeah.
affect anything.
yeah.
So I think that's where it comes down to, is just because it's like a government-owned bureaucratic system that it's going to be.
It's like the closest thing we have now to like public health care. Probably.
Yeah, I would say it's like at that point, like the quality of like in the Army, like the quality of your healthcare isn't always considered the best.
Yeah.
So it's another like when people aren't incentivized, they typically underperform.
Is that anything that you think there'll be any kind of change with that?
Oh man,
I've heard it's like a broken system for years, and then you know,
that'd be like congressional level changes. Like that'd be something that would have to start with like changing who you vote for.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that you have to bring up and like petition for. And, like the veteran community's not big enough to do that. Only 1%. So it's something that's like it's gonna be hard to change.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's like what they always say about how much you guys sacrifice, and the least we can do is take care of you when you come back.
Now they can't even buy cigarettes. What? Yeah, you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't drink or buy cigarettes or vapor products.
Yeah.
You suck.
Yeah.
And that was like in because a lot of stuff we do in the Army is boring. Like, if you're pulling, we call it pulling security, you're basically standing behind your weapon, just looking at an area. Okay, looking for threats. And you just stand there for hours. Staring. So, guys do a lot of dip, chewing tobacco, smoke a lot, because it just keeps you alert, keeps you doing something with your hands, you know. And now 21-year-olds can't even do that.
Are they strict about that?
I mean,
like if they caught a 20-year-old smoking,
I don't think anything would be done.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same with like underage drinking. Like, don't get caught.
Yeah.
Like, you
Give me
can't
your
stop
pet.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna walk up to one of my soldiers and be like, "You 21?" Like, is he smoking a cigarette?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's
Let the man have some stress relief.
maybe give him a vape, but you know.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's quite the extreme of a life, though, compared to civilian living, wouldn't you say?
I mean, it has its extreme moments. Like, sometimes, like, they're like, all right, so we're going to go on a field exercise, which is where you go out and train, and, like, you pretend that you're in an enemy situation. And they'll be like, we're going to leave on a Saturday, so you just finished working a whole week preparing for it, and we're going to come back the following Sunday so they can roll together, like, 3 weeks of work. And you're just like, you know, you're out there for a week, you smell, you're dirty, you know, you can't really, obviously you don't have your phone on you, so you can't talk to home or anything. Like, that part gets it, like, tough, just because, you know, being away from home, being that busy, obviously adds a stressor on everyone's life. Not quite the same as, like, a 9-month deployment. And, you know, I have to think back, like, when, like, my platoon sergeant, he was in, like, during the height of the Iraq-Afghanistan wars, like, one of his deployments was, like, 16 months. And, like, he's getting shot at consistently.
For 16 months.
Right. And, like, I think he went on, like, 3 deployments like that. So, like, and when I look back at it like that, I'm just like, my deployment was easy. You know, that's, like, the kind of perspective I try to maintain is, like, it could always be worse.
Yeah. For sure.
So,
Seems like that they've taken pretty good care of you. Like, you've done pretty well.
yeah.
You seem like relatively the same person that we knew before.
I mean, you can let the military change you, but my biggest thing, like, my perspective is, like, I'm in the military is not who I am.
Right.
So, like, when I'm,
Don't let it define you.
yeah, it's something that, like, we joke about a lot right now, but, like, that's not, like, who I am deep at the core. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still myself, and I
Still
have my
Dakota.
own hobbies.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not, like, I don't sit at home and just read military stuff constantly. I mean, I read it,
Yeah.
and then I also do stuff that I enjoy in my free time, like hanging out with you guys, like visiting family, you know, going out.
You see people like in your platoon who are changed or who are like dealing with it maybe harder or differently.
I don't think on this deployment I saw anything like that. Like, I mean, obviously you're gonna have like divorces and stuff like that, which is unfortunate, but people handle it, and like you make sure there's a support system there for them. But like, I don't like, because we weren't like I can't imagine how different it is when you're getting shot at daily, or even shot at in general. Like, that's a concept that, like, you don't know how you're gonna react to that. And, like, you don't know how you're gonna process that mentally and how it's gonna change you until it happens.
Right.
But there's a lot of people in the military that have been shot at a lot. You know, watch people die, and you know, like, when you talk to them, you would never know. So I think it's all about how you handle it. Like, it can't be something that, like, is defined in, like, a,
Yeah, it's all personal.
yeah, sure. Because, like, I don't know how I'd respond if I got shot at.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations you want to tell yourself, yeah, I'm gonna be this tough
Rambo.
like, yeah, I'm gonna respond like and be big, ballsy, and like, but you don't know.
Yeah.
It's always been like, because a lot of, like, when you talk to a lot of soldiers, like, the main thing they want to do is get into a firefight. That's what they're trained to do. That's what they want to do. I think that's also the thing for them, is they want to see. Because that's like a true test of who you are. Like, how do you respond in the ultimate face of danger?
Right.
Like, I think that'd be a cool psychoanalysis. Like,
Yeah. What percent active military right now do you think is like sees action, like isn't involved in a firefight? Is it minority?
I mean, compared to what it was in, like, 2000s,
Yeah.
way less.
Yeah.
because like a lot of those guys are like getting out. They're older now. Like typically, when you go to like Iraq, Afghanistan deployment, some people will see some combat, but not as much as it was back then.
Maybe like 5 or 10% or something.
I wouldn't know exact percentage. So in my platoon, I got 16 people, which is a small platoon because we're heavy weapons, and 2 of them have been in combat, seen firefights. My platoon sergeant's been in for 16 years, and one guy who's probably been in for like 3 or 4.
So it's definitely a thing.
It's definitely a thing. I mean, you still have guys running around from.
But it's still probably less than people would imagine.
Yeah, and then we're in the infantry. Like that is our job.
Yeah, you guys are going to be the ones in it.
Right. So like, there's parts of the military that are called combat arms. It's infantry armor, which is tanks, and then there's I think it's aviation and chemical. There's a guy that's considered combat arms, so they'll see combat more likely. It doesn't mean they're like guys that are in any other job aren't going to see it, but they're typically not the ones out in the front trying to respond to it, you know. But like, you know, you have your medics, they're like embedded in the platoon. So if like your platoon gets in a firefight, like your medic is there. So like that's something like someone would maybe be like, oh yeah, you know, I'll go be a medic and I'll never see combat, but like you're the guy there to save everyone's life.
Yeah.
So like those guys will see combat.
You're gonna have to be in the thick of it.
So, you know, it's an interesting dynamic, and like obviously active duty and what I do is different than National Guard or reserves. Like that's a different life. Like I can't relay much on that, how much they see. But,
so like in a, let's say, Third World War type shit hits the fan there, you know, and we have to be, we're in active war again. Does that mean you go out?
it depends on how big of a scale it is and like who they call up.
It's all situational. They pick and choose kind of.
Because there's infantry units all over the country. Like we're not the only one. So there's like 3 brigades in Fort Campbell, which a brigade is made up of like 3 infantry battalions. And each battalion has like 800 people. That's at Fort Campbell. And then there's Fort Bragg, which is bigger. And then there's people in Fort Benning, Fort Lewis. There's people in Hawaii, Alaska. There's people in Italy and Germany. There's people all over.
How do they decide that order, though?
That's made way above my head. Those are decisions made by generals.
Where the conflict occurs, and then
who's going to respond and stuff like that. Yeah, that's got a guy with a star on his chest kind of job.
Well, you have anything else you want to add?
Oh, I got one thing. What do you think of like third-party mercenary groups?
I mean, that's like such a deep topic that like, because like I think it's kind of shady overall. They're not governed, and they're kind of just out there doing their own thing, working for who knows who.
Yeah, they work for Corps normally.
I don't know who they work for. I know.
Al-Shabaab?
No, like they usually fight Al-Shabaab or ISIS, but like yeah, there's definitely like
Is that a popular thing?
yeah, I would say a lot, but there are definitely veterans who get out of the army and then pursue contracting, government contracting, or like I think one of the big ones was Blackwater.
That's for them.
Yeah, I think they got like dissolved and made something else, like because they do.
Yeah, it's like the military minus the rules.
Right, exactly. Minus the rules and structures.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know much about it. It's not someone I've interacted with or even looked into. It's not something I'm interested in, but I do think it's a little shady.
Yeah. Not like a shortcut.
It sounds like there would be a lot of shade along that path.
Yeah, it's like I just want to go out and kill things. Kind of motive.
Yeah.
Versus I want to defend freedom.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You have anything for me, Kurt?
No, I was interested in the tech end. I mean, you covered a lot of ground, man.
Anyone who doesn't know a whole lot about the military will learn a little bit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll have to continue
Well, what are your plans after post-military?
Yeah, so I want to, like I said, try to go to get my
Stanley,
MBA.
and then ultimately.
I just kind of, I mean, I'd like to see myself owning, like, I would really enjoy owning, like, a cocktail bar or something where I enjoy making cocktails now, something I do in my free time, like craft cocktails, doing fun stuff like that. And I can see
You
myself.
need to go to the military to do that.
Hey, you're right. But no, it set me up, like, so when I get out, I can go to Stanford for free because of the military. I get the VI benefits, and Stanford's a yellow ribbon school, so that's why it's something that I want to go to, because I actually pay my living expenses to go to Stanford. So I actually make money.
Is that because you're an officer, or is that same for
That's
everyone?
just anyone who's served 3 years in the military can get out and go to school. And there's VA benefits, and then you can get the yellow ribbon schools, which are schools that just add on to that. So instead of having to pay tuition at all at Stanford, you just free, which is like $100,000 a year.
Yeah, might as well run that.
Yeah, so I was like, it's a high goal, but it's something like
That's
if I
a
can
big
try.
incentive, though.
Yeah, if I can try to get it, because like those big schools like Stanford, MIT, Harvard, like when you get a degree from it, on paper, it gets you all the connections that you need or want, and like obviously some people make a career out of the Army, and like there's incentives to do that. Like you get a really good retirement pension. Like if you stay in for 20 years, you get 50% of your income for the rest of your life. You stay in for 30 years, I think you get 100%.
Yeah,
but that's easier said than done. Like you still have to get promoted and continuously move up. You can't just be stagnant. It's called like an up and out.
Yeah,
up or out kind of thing. It's like if you're an underperformer, you're not gonna make it.
So they'll boot you out.
Yeah,
They'll be like, all right, you're not moving up.
Yeah,
go back home. That's a wrap, I suppose.
All right.
We'll run another one when you come back from deployment.
If I come back from another deployment.
Yeah, or just whenever we see you next.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
It was awesome.
Absolutely, man.
Yep. Thanks for being on, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
Mercall!
The Sham Show.
Welcome to the Sham Show.